First, for a second straight week in a row, we are here to cover another 3-hour block of AEW television. And spoiler alert, we will be getting it again next week as well, but for Dynamite and Rampage instead.
Yep. Apologies that we're not live at 2:30 a.m. But you know, TBS doesn't know how to schedule anything straight. So
AEW doesn't know how to tell me what coast to coast truly means. But you know what?
That's
an early review. I'm not going to complain about.
Yeah.
But hi, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition. And we're combining the Collision Collective and the Cleanup Crew reviews. So me and Adolfo, your hosts that are part of both shows in general, is a late night. We are here to review the 3-hour block of AEW television from Saturday, April 27, 2024 for AEW.
My birthday.
Yep, your birthday. So
my birthday.
Leamos to Ador himself.
Thank you.
It's a whole birthday weekend. We're celebrating Adolfo tonight, and this is what he chooses to do for his birthday. And then we're preemptively celebrating my birthday, which is a day before the actual date tomorrow for the podcast. So make sure to tune into that because that's going to be a fun one.
Yep.
There was things that happened tonight.
There was things. I was entertained. I was thoroughly entertained. So.
Oh, absolutely. I was too. And honestly, this was actually a really good episode of Collision, in my opinion. I was like, we're slowly getting back to where we were before, and I'm kind of digging it, and I'm super happy to see it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So we opened up with Swerve coming out, saying some words.
So Swerve Strickland, your new AEW World Champion, comes out to the ring, and he basically cuts the promo in two parts. First, he calls out the Elite for their attack on Toni Khan and says that's a bitch move, so to speak.
Say it with gusto. That was a bitch, and that was a bitch move. Leeches.
Oh my goodness! But
did you see the Toni Khan with his neck brace though?
I sent it. So small little tangent. So the Dynamite boys, myself, Professor, and JVL, we talked about on the Dynamite review where Professor manifested he wants Toni Khan to go full kayfabe and have a neck brace during the actual NFL draft. I found the picture online, sent it to them that same night, and we have manifested the best thing that happened. So that was hilarious. That was fantastic.
Stay neck strong, Toni Khan. Stay neck strong.
We'll talk about those boys later, but
God. Anyway, I'm sorry.
So Swerve calls out the Elite, says that it was a bitch move for them to attack Toni Khan, and hopefully that Toni Khan is going to, take care of himself, come back stronger. It's going to be great. And then Swerve goes into the second half of the promo where he says he wants to be a fighting champion, and he mentions his daughters. All the time that he spent away missing certain things have all made it worth it now that he is AEW World Champion. And decides that, he wants to defend the title tonight on Collision. So he will hold an open challenge. So first person to answer him will get this match. And we didn't have to wait long because it was answered by one Claudio Castagnoli. So this sets up in our main event tonight for the AEW World Championship. Claudio will be taking on Swerve for the AEW World Championship. And that's how we opened up Collision this week.
I'll tell you what, I am here for the fighting champion thing. And if you want to have, and not to put the Adam Copeland in front of the cart, but if we want to keep having these championship belt open challenge matches, I'm down. I dig it. I'm tired of champions only showing up every once in a while, and yes, I'm calling out both X championships from both companies. I am definitely more of a fan, a champ fighting it, fighting to defend it. So that's my 2 cents.
That is very fair, and we will be talking more about Claudio and Swerve as we get to the end of the Collision block. But we then go from here into our first match of the evening, which is a championship match of a different sort. This is for the Unified World Trios Championship. We see the Bang Bang Gang, so Bullet Club Golds of Jay White and the Guns, taking on the team of Top Flight and Action Andretti. This match is occurring because on Ring of Honor this week, the Dark Order and Top Flight with Action Andretti had a match to kind of determine who would be facing for the Unified World Trios Championships first. And to no one's surprise, Top Flight and Action Andretti won. And so that is where we get this championship match. I actually thought this was a lot of fun. This was given like 9-10 minutes. This was what I expected from trios matches, just total trios action, Top Flight doing Top Flight things and flying all over the place. Same thing with Action Andretti. And Bullet Club Gold doing shenanigans and craziness. Ultimately, the Bang Bang Gang do retain their championships, and they are your Unified World Trios Championships. This was a fun match. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and this was a fun way to have our first match for Collision tonight.
Well, I'm glad you got to see it, Mikey, because I couldn't understand what the wait, give it a few months. I couldn't understand what the fudge coast to coast meant, so I completely missed this match, and I blame you, TBS. I blame you. Just put on that East Coast West Coast simulcast or something like that. Use normal terms, not coast to coast.
Yes, so for the next couple of minutes as we go through the opening of Collision, I will be filling in most of the missing information for Adolfo because him being on the East Coast, it just wasn't working out for him. And I got to catch everything over here on the West Coast. So I would like to shout out DirecTV for allowing me to watch it pre-taped.
Okay, now that we are 10 minutes in, yeah, you fucked me, TBS, on my birthday. I want that match back. Go ahead.
No safety, no oil, no nothing.
No nothing.
Essentials.
Nope. Didn't even buy me a drink.
Dang, that's unfortunate.
You don't get to watch the 6-man.
Well, speaking of
I'm actually bummed too because I really enjoy the Bang Bang the Bang Bang Gang, and I really enjoy Top Flight and Action Andretti, and I would have loved to see the shenanigans that the two of them ensued in that match, but I missed it, and I couldn't. And then even after Rampage, the feed still wasn't up for the 27th, so yeah. Go ahead. I'm done. Next.
Well, speaking of things that Adolfo didn't get to see either, so after our Unified World Trios Championship match, we get a quick little pre-taped vignette / promo from the House of Black that, Brody King has technically have 2 wins over Adam Copeland. And, the House of Black accepts the Copeland challenge for the TNT Championship. But the caveat is that Adam Copeland is not going to find out who he will be facing on Dynamite on Wednesday until the actual match itself. So who knows who's going to be stepping up to Adam Copeland for the TNT Championship. And I'm excited.
That's a very... So now is that... were they was the House of Black pulling the house rules thing when they did that, or is that just them being Spooky Uki House of Black?
They're being Spooky Uki House of Black.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I said my piece about the fighting championship thing. I'm all here for it, and the fact that we don't know who Adam Copeland is going up against coming up on Dynamite, mystery. I love it.
Yes. So we go from the House of Black being Spooky Uki to something that Adolfo actually got to finally see. Yep. So now he can give me his full thoughts. We get into our next match of the evening. This is a returning Fenix, finally healed and ready to go back to the wrestling ring. And he takes AEW's one of their new signees in the AEW universe in the Beast Mortos.
The Beast Mortos.
This match was everything I wanted. I was like, these are two wrestlers doing lucha things in the ring.
Yes, sir.
I was giddy like a schoolgirl. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yes, sir. You know, I mean, if you've watched the show, you know me and Mikey, we love our luchadors, and this was just luchador. Goodness, Ray Phoenix did a standing jump up onto the Beast's shoulders, like while he's standing up, and then like bounced off his head, and then did a flip. I mean, come on, it was good. I was for Ray Phoenix's first match back though, I was amazed as to how he I don't want to say he allowed himself, but like how beat up the Beast, the beating that the Beast put on Ray Phoenix. Not and I thought it was great. I much rather that than some dinky squash match. I mean, the match itself, if you have I was going to save this question for the end, but I'm going to put it out here. Like, what constitutes a 5 gold star match? Because like in the nerdy Puerto Ricans world, this match was at least a 4 gold star match. It was really entertaining. It had really entertaining characters. I mean, if you haven't seen Morto, right? The Beast Morto, right? Yeah, if you haven't seen the Beast Morto, my man comes out with a bull minotaur mask with ram horns and spikes coming up his head like that. And I mean, he uses them too. Like, there were a few times that he went and like full on headbutted Ray Phoenix. And yes, okay, in really real world, it's it's a rubber mask, blah 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 blah. But the selling and the storytelling, it just like it is almost like you had a human going up against this minotaur monster. It was good. I was sold. I was entertained. And 4 gold stars in the nerdy Puerto Rican world.
We love to see it. Ray Fenix does pick up the victory here, which was really nice to see. And I'm super happy to see him finally recovered from injury. And now that he's back, here's hoping that he gets some more matches in. And here's hoping that we can see the Lucha Bros finally reunite and kind of get back into tag team action, because I am here for all of it. Super fantastic.
Oh, man. Yeah. I'm going to reserve comments on that.
So we move on from this match, which was really awesome, to a quick backstage segment with Orange Cassidy. And basically he is asked about everything that transpired last week, or earlier this week, I should say. Again, on the AEW television at one point, just starts to blur together. But Orange Cassidy wants to know, hey, so what are your feelings on Trent and Chuck Taylor and everything that's happening? Orange kind of begins talking, and then Kris Statlander comes in and interrupts and says, hey, he needs us. And so prompts Orange Cassidy to go with Kris to go to Chucky T, which we will see later in the show.
You mean Lexi was interviewing Orange? Because you said Orange Cassidy was interviewing Orange Cassidy. And I mean, Orange Cassidy's a good wrestler, but I don't think he can interview himself like that.
I mean, we've seen it before, but surprisingly enough, I don't. She looks like Lexi, but I got confirmation later that wasn't Lexi.
Oh.
So Lexi was MIA. I was just like, hold up, where'd Lexi go?
Oh wait, no, that's right. I apologize. New backstage color commentary human, that you wasn't Lexi there. But yeah.
Right. And we'll talk about Orange because we'll see Mr. Chucky T later in the evening with Orange. We will. So we'll talk about that when we get there. So then we get our squash match of the evening, which is also another return for all of us here, because in this squash match, we had a returning Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
El Toro Blanco.
El Toro Blanco.
Taking on local talent Martin Stone, also formerly known as Danny Burch from WWE and from NXT and NXT UK. Again, this was a match that was just set up to remind us, like, oh yeah, Roosh is back and he's gonna kill somebody.
Yeah, Roosh is a thing. Oh yeah.
Those running knees, man. Oh my gosh. When he has you in the corner
Yeah.
and does the full sprint
Yeah.
into the knees.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it was a squash match. I mean, of all the matches on Collision, this was my weakest match. I've seen Roosh in better matches, so like I personally would have much rather him have a little bit of a longer match. It could still be a squash match, but it could be like one of those squash matches that lasts at least 10 minutes, if that, But yeah, it was. He did the thing. Bull horns thing.
Yes. I agree with you. This was like the least ranked in my opinion because it was a squash match. But as me and Adolfo has always said, it was very nice to see the return of a bunch of melanated people because we have
It is.
our melanin on our television screens.
Yeah. I was. That is one thing though. I was like, oh, we got Latino backing up Latino. Okay, I dig it.
So this was our squash match. I'm happy to see Roosh back, and we'll see what is in store for Roosh since
Yeah.
who knows where the rest of his faction is, and Jose is the assistant is no longer in AEW, so which is gonna be interesting to see what happens with all that. We go into it, but we cut to commercial, and when we come back, we get a backstage interview with Serena Deeb. Again, Dynamite was played with the audio issues, so they were they played back the promo, with enhanced audio as best as they could. And I was very upset. I was like, y'all fixed it by Collision, but you couldn't have Dynamite. How dare you? But Serena Deeb backstage states that, Toni is one of the greatest champions that AEW has had in a while, but Serena is still, at the very top, and she's coming for that title. So Toni versus Serena is what I'm hoping that we start building towards. I'm super excited for all of that.
I would like to see Serena Deeb on TV a little bit more. I feel, and I mean, this goes hand in hand with the argument or our statement week in and week out that the women's division just doesn't get enough TV time. But if you have the ranking system, okay, and you have these top contenders for these belts, and this actually, this can go for the men's belts too, but start showing us these top contenders on TV. I mean, you now have 3 shows. You have Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage. 2 of those 3 shows are, I should say, well, Collision was 2 hours tonight, and it is Collision normally 2 hours.
Yep, Collision is normally 2 hours.
Am I going crazy? Okay.
No, Collision's 2 hours, Dynamite's 2 hours, Rampage is 1.
So there you go. Like, you have 2 of your 3 shows are 2 hours long. Like, I feel that they can fit in, even if it's on Rampage, I feel like they can fit in some of these top contender matches so we can start seeing them on TV. So when they pop up, it's not so much of a, oh, where have you been since you've been reintroduced? Because that's, even seeing Serena on Wednesday, that was my personal reaction was, oh, you are still here. I know that you cut that promo that you were number 3 and that you were gunning for the top spot. And I saw Serena Deeb wrestle, I think her first match back or something like that. But since then, I haven't really seen her. So it would just be nice to put faces to these contenders.
That is very fair. So before we start getting Serena and Toni to be feuding, I do hope that we see Serena more in the ring, because right now we've been seeing a lot of promos from her, but I want to see her get back into the ring.
Yeah.
Remind everyone why she is super fantastic.
Yeah.
But we are talking about Miss Timeless Toni Storm, and she's up next in action, where she takes on Anna Jay. I was very happy with this match. I thought both women killed it in this match. And I'm gonna say the same thing when we get to Rampage because I think the women really killed it this week for this 3-hour block of AEW
They
programming.
did. The worst part about this match was the picture-in-picture.
Oh, I was so upset.
So frustrating.
I was just like, I get we have to do commercials, but we can complain about that till the cows come home. But we're just gonna leave that alone.
Yep. No, and this was a really good match. You had a lot of great character moments, like when Anna Jay got that poster from the fan and ripped it up. There really wasn't any interference that took away from the match from Mariah or Luther, and you let Toni and Anna wrestle. I was able to watch this match with Alice, and even Alice commented how it was nice to actually see Anna Jay wrestle, and it was a good match. It was a good match. They both left it all out on the mat. I felt that it forwards the story for Mariah May and Timeless Toni Storm. It's getting a little bit deeper, and if we are going to have that point where Mariah May finally turns the corner and starts going against Toni Storm, those seeds are now sown. So I'm definitely here for it.
I 100% agree with you. And this was a phenomenal match. Timeless Toni Storm does pick up the victory here. And, I'm excited to see where else this leads us for Toni and, who she's going to be end up facing at Double or Nothing. So I'm excited for this.
I also just want to say, I hope, because Anna Jay's been getting a lot of has been getting a lot of W's on ROH, a lot of L's in AEW. I hope that they give Anna Jay a shot at an ROH belt, because I feel that I feel that would be good.
I think,
I don't think, because I think if you try to insert her into, she had her match against Toni, so technically because she lost, she goes to the bottom of the rankings. If we're still following the rankings, but so she would go to the bottom of the rankings, and then to try to insert her into that TBS Women's Championship story would feel a little ham-fisted to me, because you got so many big players going on in that storyline right now. So I really would like to see Anna Jay get a big push in ROH and get her name in for one of the two women's championships that they have in ROH.
Agreed. So we'll move on from this. We get to backstage where we see Chucky T getting ready for the parking lot brawl match he's going to have with Trent Rampage. But he tells Orange that no matter what happens, that he does not want Orange and Kris to stay out of it. He doesn't want them coming out there. Chucky T's got to do this by himself. He doesn't want them to. Yes, the dog. It's like, watch my dog. And as soon as he said that, I was just like, oh, Trent's about to whoop this. Poor Chucky T's about to get his butt whooped later on Rampage.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to in a very short moment.
Yep.
Because then we get into probably my favorite match of the evening. This is a tag team match where we had the Acclaim taking on, making their AEW kind of debut, even though they haven't been signed yet, the GYV Grizzled Young Veterans. I am so stoked to see them here in AEW. Me, Andrew, and Will have been spoiled over the last couple of months because they had a stint in TNA since Hard to Kill back in January. And there's another tag team supposedly making their way to AEW too. So this is going to be a good thing. Revitalize that tag division. Good. This was my match of the night. This was a really good tag team match. This was given a lot of time. I was surprised that the Acclaim picked up the victory here, but the whole match itself was fantastic.
It was a really good match. Yeah, told a great story. There was this was one of those rare matches that really did have me on the edge of my seat, and I really enjoyed that. When Max Caster got thrown out of the ring and took out that light bar, that then for the rest of for the rest of the show had disappeared. Like I was like, there were a few spots that I was like, ooh man, ouch. But yeah, and a great introduction for the grizzled young veterans. I don't, even though they took the loss, they showed that they know what the fuck they're doing in the ring, so that's good. And I'm excited, and I am actually excited to see them more. I really, if we're gonna keep the Acclaimed as a tag team, if we're taking a break from their trios thing, and we are introducing these new tag teams, I really do hope, and I understand that the Young Bucks, are playing as a-holes, but I really hope that the whole, that they're almost holding the belts like as a placeholder, so that they can let some of this new talent come in and and win the belt. I really hope that the Young Bucks don't hold on to the belts like for a long run. I mean, because they've had the belts already like four times. They've had the belts 4 times already, 3 times. So I mean, there you go, and if they really are, thinking with their executive head, brain, that let some of these new tag teams come up, let them, put the belts on someone, sooner rather than later, and we'll go from there.
That we shall. We move on from this match, and backstage we get a very fun promo. These are my favorite promos from Katsuyori Shibata and Google Translate or whatever he's using.
Right.
Super fantastic. Initially, Katsuyori Shibata wants to take on Shane Taylor Promotions by himself in a 2-on-1 match. But then Daniel Garcia comes in and says, he would be happy to be in Shibata's corner and make this a fair fight. And Shibata agrees. So in our main event for Rampage, we would get Katsuyori Shibata and Daniel Garcia versus Shane Taylor Promotions. Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty being represented in the ring for that one in Rampage, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah. The tag team that I didn't think I would ever see, but I kind of want to see more of now. But we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later because we get into our main event, which was also given a lot of time for our main event for the AEW World Championship. Swerve Strickland defending his title against Claudio Castagnoli. This went on so long, and I actually really, really enjoyed this match.
Yeah. Yep.
My only critique of this is that, I have to suspend my disbelief a little bit. I kind of don't like seeing people kick out of the Swerve Stomp because Swerve Stomp is a finisher, and I don't like seeing that. Recently, I've been seeing a lot of people kick out of the Swerve Stomp, which is normally like a thing, so Swerve has to do like 2 or 3 times in a match to keep it down, which makes sense a little bit, but I wish that the Swerve Stomp wasn't kicked out so much. But other than that small little nitpick that I had, I thought both of these men brought it. They killed it. This was a fantastic main event and a fantastic championship match too.
Yeah. So this was the match that I actually was going to originally ask the question, what makes up a 5-star gold match, right? Because again, in the nerdy Puerto Rican sphere, this is up there. This was a 5-star match. I thought it had the time that it needed. I loved the slow build to also show off that Swerve is not just, like a power wrestler, or an unhinged wrestler, that he is a technical wrestler, that he's able to hang with the likes of Claudio Castagnoli, who is a great wrestler. I disagree with you on the Swerve Stomp. In this case, I feel that Claudio kicking out of the Swerve Stomp was a good thing. It helped to build to the story. And how about Claudio picking up Swerve and tossing him at the back wall? Like that was wow. And then also when Swerve did the thing where he jumped and like Claudio boosted him and he jumped to the top level and then came back and did that not moonsault, but the 450 or whatever, back onto Claudio. That was a good. It apparently this is Swerve's first title defense. This was good. It was a different match from his match against Joe, which was great. And again, I think it shows how good Swerve is and how much he does understand wrestling, and hopefully why he's going to be a long time AEW champion.
I hope so too. This was a really great main event for Collision. Swerve is still your AEW World Champion. Him and Claudio shake hands afterwards, and Collision goes off the air. But we are not done, because like we mentioned, this was another 3-hour block of AEW television. So now we get into Rampage, which opens up with our parking lot brawl match with Mr. Chucky T taking on Trent Beretta.
Where do they get those cars from?
That's what I want to know. I'm kind of disappointed that Stu didn't make an appearance, but that's okay.
Yo, and they weren't like crappy cars. That Volkswagen, that's a pricey car. That truck that they put the drywall and that Trent got his head crammed into, like, that's an expensive car. Like, woof.
I wonder if they got donations, but then again, this is Tony Khan. Tony Khan got that money, so who knows? He might have just got like cars to use to break and things like that. But
you're right,
man. Every time we have a parking lot brawl match, it ends up being a really, really fun thing to watch because of pure chaos, carnage, and violence. And this was no exception, because by the end of this, both Chucky T and Trent Beretta were bloodied by the end of this match.
Yeah, and I might be alone on my island in saying this, and I am happy to be alone on this island, but good use of blood in this. There wasn't blood just for blood. There was a good use of blood, and we still got some wrestling in it, which a lot of these gimmick matches I find like devolve into, where it's just like, trash cans being thrown at each other, popcorn buckets being thrown at each other, hot dogs being thrown at each other, condiments being squirted on each other. But we actually, there was some actual wrestling going on in this match, which was very nice to see. And also you felt that this being the final break of the best friends. I saw a lot of posts on social media about how, watching the best friends fight each other was like hurting people's souls, and that's what this match put forward, and that's what it did. So it didn't disappoint in that. It was a good match, not your, definitely not main event. Great way to start the Rampage.
It definitely was. Like we said, Trent Beretta picked up the victory, but then to add insult to injury, he took a wrench, and even though Kris, Statlander, and Orange Cassidy pleaded for Trent not to do so, Trent decided to bash the window and Chucky T's ankle, for that matter. So Chucky T looks like he's going to be out for a little bit, which now sets up Orange to go after Trent, which I'm super excited for. We are watching the downfall of the best friends, and I'm here for the carnage.
They were together for 10 years before this?
Yeah, that's what commentary said. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's nuts.
We're witnessing the implosion of a friendship, which is crazy. In 10 years, Adolfo BC WrestlePod will end in that similar fashion. The 9 of us will have a parking lot brawl match.
Damn right.
Well, or an Anarchy in the Arena. We'll be taking sides like Marvel Civil Wars.
But we have to have FTW rules where all of our like trash cans are spray painted in the Bi-Conics colors and all that.
Yes, and they say be WrestlePod all over the place.
Yeah.
Super fantastic. So the other thing to kind of mention at this is that at the end of this, we cut backstage because Don Callis was watching this whole entire thing go down. And I'm like,
Yeah, like fuck, like Emperor Palpatine, Don Callis is like, yes, good. You harness your anger.
Which makes me very interested to see if Don Callis tries to recruit Trent Beretta or wants to represent Trent Beretta.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen, and I'm kind of here for it. It's gonna be fantastic.
I would like to put a nerdy Puerto Rican call that Don Callis is going to kick Kyle Fletcher out and bring Trent Beretta in.
Honestly, that's probably going to happen because Kyle Fletcher is going to get back with Will Ospreay,
right?
The Golden Goose for the
Golden
Don
Goose.
Callis house. I am so excited when Mark Davis is cleared and he returns. That's going to be a really fun feud.
Yeah.
Between the new Don Callis family, which is going to be, well, who knows about Haas? Because after Dynamite, that knee, man, ooh, it was so bad to watch that thing go out live on Dynamite. It was nuts. But I'm excited for Trent, Takeshita, and whoever, if Hobbs is ready to come back, if not somebody else, take on this miniature version of the United Empire of Mark Davis, Kyle Fletcher, and Will Ospreay. It's going to be a fantastic match. And this was a really fun way to open up Rampage.
Yeah. Yep.
Super fantastic. We cut to commercial, and when we come back, Kyle O'Reilly cuts a promo, and he's excited to see what's next, and he's going to do the thing that he loves, which is wrestling. So next week, or in 2 weeks, when we're doing the second part of the Canada tour, I guess, because we're back in Canada for some reason, he gets to wrestle in front of his home crowd, which I was like, all right, Tony Khan, are we going to follow the actual rules where Kyle O'Reilly's going to pick up the win? Or are we going to pull the other promotion's move as if you're in your hometown, you're going to lose?
We shall see.
We shall see. So cool Kyle over here is like ready to wrestle, and he's here in AEW. We're the best wrestle. I was like, all right, fine. I thought we dropped this whole shtick and gimmick, with what AEW's been saying the last couple weeks to the other company, but all right, I'll let it slide. So then we get into my favorite thing of the whole entire evening, because my prayers to the wrestling gods were answered. Not only did we get this match between Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo,
oh yeah,
but we are going to be getting a feud between these two, which is what I wanted the last few weeks. So before we talk about what happened afterwards, so this match was my match of the night for Rampage, in the sense that because I love both of these women, but on top of that, I will be going to a Collision taping in the Palm Springs area, which is like 20 minutes away from me. So literally in my home city. Super excited about that. And on top of that, I'm slowly getting Mama Laguillo into the AEW universe because she will be attending her first wrestling event at this Collision taping with me. And she's already seen Thunder before when she would come by and watch, a little bit while I was watching with it. And so she likes the aesthetic for Thunder. I mean, come on, like Mexican, let's go. Like, right? Come on now. But she watched this match with me and she watched the subsequent Brawl, and both of us loved it. This was my favorite match because I will admit it did take a little bit to get going, but then once it got going, then it became hard hitting, and I really liked the different counters into the different submission moves. I enjoyed this a lot.
I enjoyed it too. I disagree. I don't think it took. I think it took the time it needed to get going. But this. This definitely was a much better introduction to Deonna Purrazzo than her introduction against Toni Storm. And I liked the promos that they cut, but then when Toni and Deonna wrestled, it didn't click. It didn't click. This right here, this clicked, and we have had that build up because Deonna interfering with Thunder Rosa and Toni, and Thunder Rosa interfering with Deonna and Mariah, and this that, and there has been this build up, and I think it was you, Mikey, that mentioned on an earlier show about turning Deonna heel, because that's where her best work has been.
Her best work is a heel, and I got to witness that firsthand when she was the heel virtuosa in TNA before coming over to AEW. It works very well when she's a heel.
And I think that we are seeing that, or that I think that we saw that turn tonight, and it was really enjoyable. It was really enjoyable. And the best part is that even after the match, they kept brawling, which was cool. I was, Definitely stoked that they didn't like start brawling and then like went backstage while sprawling. You know, they kept brawling on stage and then had to have security pull them apart. It was a great match, and I'm here for round 2. I'm ready to see round 2.
We're definitely getting to round 2 because post match, Thunder Rosa picks up the victory. And as she's walking up, the ramp to head back out, Deonna attacks her from behind. And then we have a brawl in front of that little ledge in front of the audience. And security had to come out and take these two apart. And middle fingers and like not so nice words were exchanged. I am ready for an all-out war between these two. I hope it. Selfishly, I would like this to go past Double or Nothing and get these two to fight in some sort of crazy stipulation match at the taping that I'm going to. But I am super excited to finally get to this feud and that it's going to be a good time. And Deonna has now finally embraced the full heel turn, which makes me super excited because I cannot wait for heel virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah, she actually showed like characterization tonight in that like in that instance when she came after the match, when Thunder Rosa was walking off, and she came and she snuck Thunder, and she like looked at the audience and like roared. Like there was just such good characterization there. I'm happy that they're now allowing that to come out.
Absolutely. So I'm excited for this. We go backstage with the Undisputed Kingdom, in which first we had Matt Taven and Mike Bennett wish Tony Khan a recovery for the neck strongest, the people who help someone rehabilitate their neck. They wish Tony Khan a full recovery. And then Roderick Strong cuts a promo, talking about how Will Ospreay is not going to take this title from him at Double or Nothing. And I'm like, Roddy, I love you, but your promo skills are still not great. And I was kind of bored.
They could have just let
Taven and Mike Bennett
talk. Yeah, please.
We lost the plot with this Undisputed Kingdom because I'm like,
and like the whole
again, we lost the plot.
Roddy. And it's super frustrating to me because he is so good in the ring, but his promos are shit. Like, come on, man. I'm not. You don't have to be as drop promos like Will Ospreay or Thunder Rosa, right? But you got to give a little something. And like, if we're playing this whole Messiah thing, then
yeah, that was weird when he said that. I was like, wait a minute, but we haven't done this before. Why?
That's the second time he's done that, though. So like, if this is going to be a thing, then like, can we maybe build a character around it? Like maybe have you come out in some like priesty something or like cleric type thing.
As soon as like, Messiah, I was like, all right, wish.com, Seth Rollins, calm down.
Right? Yeah. So first half of this promo, I was good with. They could have stopped.
We could have stopped right there. And period.
Stop right there.
Finito, but no, we continued. But we're going to continue on to something else that I was dreading, and we got our squash match for Rampage. Big Bill taking on local talent Trevor Blackwell.
Okay.
The whole point of this match was for Big Bill to show Chris Jericho that he is deserving to be part of the learning tree. Big Bill wins. Chris Jericho is watching from backstage. We move on. Professor, and JBL talked about this on Dynamite when we got that whole in-ring promo of the learning tree. Adolfo, like, we don't even need to talk about this segment, but since you didn't get to since you don't review Dynamite on a normal basis, I'm sure you saw the learning tree promo. What is happening? Like, what is...
Why does he have another nickname? Why don't
More importantly, like, what does Chris Jericho have on Tony Khan that he continues to get put on television?
I don't know. At this point, especially after Dynasty and how the crowd is definitely against him, but I don't feel like it's a Rey Mysterio or a Don Callis. Like the crowd is against you. I honestly feel like the crowd is done with Jericho, you know?
They don't care anymore.
And he is embracing this whole learning tree thing for whatever reason. But why with Big Bill? You know,
I don't know.
If you want, yeah. Next.
It's frustrating. So
Next.
we're gonna move on from this because I don't want to be fighting this late at night.
Nah, it's
Adolfo could have a full powwow after we're done with.
It's like beating a dead horse. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
We're gonna move on from this, and we get to our main event of Rampage this evening, which is a tag team match: Katsuyori Shibata and Daniel Garcia taking on Shane Taylor Promotions. Anthony Ogogo is on commentary for this one, and this was another fun match. Daniel Garcia coming out matching in the black trunks of Katsuyori Shibata and the towel, and basically copying his moves during certain parts of this match. Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor are still looking great in the ring, like killing the game. This was a really fun main event. Katsuyori Shibata and Daniel Garcia do pick up the victory, but man, this was a lot of fun.
The tag team I didn't think I needed, but God, give me more Garcia Shibata. Make them a tag team. They work so well together. Holy crap. With Garcia and his outgoing personality and his dance and Shibata's just stoic nature, it is so good. And it helps that they are both just really fucking good in the ring. I mean, it was awesome. And great matchup against Shane Taylor Productions, because Shane Taylor and Tiger Style, Lee Moriarty, they bring it and they bring it and they bring it, and entertaining, super entertaining, a lot of great spots, a lot of will they, won't they, good build up, and yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Please, AEW, Tony Khan, give me more Daniel Garcia and Shibata, please.
Seriously. Which brings us to the end of another 3-hour block of AEW television.
Yeah.
And it was during our main event that we got told, be like, guess what, guys? We're going to do it again. We got another 3-hour block. So but this week is going to be Dynamite and Rampage being combined. And I'm upset because I don't get to review Rampage with Adolfo this week because I'm not going to be there at the Dynamite review. Unless they decide to do a late review, but that's not fair to the co-host. But
we'll see.
We'll talk about it in our text. It's gonna be a long 3 hours for everyone. I'm just like,
yeah.
I'm ready for the NBA Finals to be over, but let's get into our final ratings for this 3-hour block. Too.
Yeah.
3-hour block on this lovely Saturday evening. Out of 10 empanadas, what do we give this Collision and Rampage together as a whole package?
Well, because it was my birthday, I'm going to actually give it 7 out of 10 birthday cakes, because it is my birthday. So, and it's your birthday coming up too. So this is a birthday cake scale. Yeah, it was for the 3-hour block. It was really entertaining. When the final match of Rampage was over, I did have a moment of, oh, that was an hour. Wow. Okay. Which was a good thing, because that meant that I was engrossed in the 3 hours. Yeah, it did have some of its little hiccups, but the hiccups I felt were very minor. I felt that all the matches, they told good stories. They forwarded the storylines that need to be forwarded. And yeah, just overall good programming.
I am actually going to surprise Adolfo here because of how strong I thought Collision was and how much fun I had on Rampage. I'm giving this week's 3-hour block of AEW television an 8 out of 10 birthday cakes for me. I had a lot of fun watching the majority of Rampage, but Collision was very strong. And it's been quite some
It
time
was.
since I was thoroughly engrossed with a collision all the way through. Because there was some stuff I didn't like, but for the most part, everything was paced well. It worked out. The wrestling was fantastic. Everybody got the time. It was good. So I give this an 8 out of 10. Adolfo, we reached the second week in a row with the 3-hour block.
Done.
And third
And we're
time's
done before 2:30 a.m.
Thank the Lord and the wrestling gods and just everything in general. So me and Adolfo can actually hang out for a little bit afterwards.
Yep.
Which is very, very nice because it's been like 2.5, 3 weeks since me and Adolfo actually got to really catch up. We're always busy here. But that's going to conclude the Collision Collective and the Cleanup Crew reviews for this week. Stay tuned because we are reuniting with just our 3 gents team. And we are going to have a combined review for Dynamite and Rampage this upcoming week. So this is going to be a very interesting one. But we're going to get up on out of here so me and Adolfo can go chill and have an actual birthday and a pre-birthday hangout session for a little bit before we go to bed. But from both of us and all of the BC WrestlePod boys, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, but more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We'll catch you on the flip side. But until
Billy starts
then,
the outro.
Yep. Ta-ta for now.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's going to happen next time? Well, you're going to have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.